I've been working with a lot of bands lately and setting up their Ableton live sessions so that they can run their tracks at their live shows. And there's a couple small tricks that I've been using to make people's live sessions even better. So in today's video, I'm gonna give you 5 small things that you can do to make your live tracks that much better. Let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to talk about is sending your low end separately from your high end. How we're going to go about doing this is you're going to need an interface with at least 4 outputs, and you're going to send your high end, that is everything that's not like basses or kicks, to channels 1 and 2. And then in channels 3, you're going to be able to send your low end information, mono. And then number 4 is going to be your mono channel to send your click and your guide for your drummer or into your ear pack for everybody to hear those things. Now, why would you want to do this? So firstly, you're going to keep your tracks from fighting each other. So a lot of low end information tends to be really, really loud. And sometimes whenever it's going through a system, your low end information can actually duck some of your high end tracks when it hits. And it's going to make those high end parts of your song not really be heard as well. And then another reason is because you're sending all the low end information down its own channel, you're actually going to be able to let your front of house engineer handle that low end differently from the high end. And it's going to allow them to create a better overall balance for the room. And once again, keep your low end from fighting everything else in the mix. The second tip we're going to talk about is making count in cues. So I talked about this a little bit in my simple guide to building out an Ableton live set video, but I want to really reiterate what this is. Counting cues are things like intro 2, 3, 4, or chorus 2, 3, 4. What this does is make sure that you're aware of where the downbeat is, and it gives you a really clear indication of when to come in. If you're running to a wireless system, it also keeps the whole band on the same page because you're doing a lot of stuff in a live show, whether you're a guitar player changing patches or you're a drummer just being a drummer. You can kind of get lost sometimes in what you're doing, and those cues help keep you on track while you're playing. That way you don't miss entrances or miss going to the next section of a song. And it's extremely helpful if it's a newer song and you're still kind of getting a grasp on the order of everything. And for all of my artists and bands that like weird tempo changes in the middle of their songs, having a guide or cue count you into the next section is gonna help that feel a lot more natural. And it's gonna help you make that tempo transition change even easier than just having a click. And you could get super creative with this. You can make jokes in your cues for the whole band to hear and have a little bit of a moment on stage. You can use it to help direct your vocalist who's speaking on what they need to be talking about, whether that's social media engagement or pointing to merch or thanking the other bands. And you can have that built into your tracks and cues so that everybody knows where they're at. Something I like to do is even have a cue with the name of the song you're about to play, just so that there's no question on what you're about to do. Moving on to number 3, we're gonna check our live tracks in a room. Not just on studio monitors or on headphones, we're gonna balance our live tracks in a live room. This is particular to people who are getting stems from a producer and are balancing their live stems themselves. We wanna make sure we're going to a live room similar to a system that what you're going to be playing on regularly and balancing your stems there. Live tracks tend to translate very different from studio monitors or headphones to an actual live environment. This also lets you do things like make sure that your guitar tones, bass tones, and tracks all mesh really well together and make sure that everything hits just right. Number 4 is something that's gonna help you be a lot more flexible, and that's making hotkeys for every song in your set list. This is gonna come into play if you ever need to restart a song, like you mess up and you need to start over from the beginning. A hotkey is gonna have it placed exactly where it needs to be. You can just hit a button and go, rather than fumbling around and wasting time trying to restart the song. Or another situation is maybe you have to cut your set short for some reason out of your control, but it has to happen. So you can have a hotkey ready to skip whatever song you need to cut in your set. Overall, this is gonna help you make decisions on the fly. You can even do things like put an extra song at the end of your set, just in case you maybe have more time than you thought. You can always add an extra song into your set. And the way you do this in Ableton is you set up a locator You name that locator, whatever the song name is, and then you want to either choose in the top right corner of Ableton the key or MIDI, depending on what you're doing. For this example, we're going to use the key section. That's going to open a menu on the left side of the screen. Then you want to select that locator flag and then hit the corresponding key to make a hotkey for that locator flag. Now, every time you hit the number connected to the corresponding locator flag, your playhead is going to move to that space. The MIDI selection is going to allow you to do the same thing, but just with external MIDI units. So let's say you have something like the Korg NanoPad, which is just a set of pads that you can connect to your computer. What you can do is you can assign a pad to go to a specific song, and then also assign a pad to be play or stop. This way you can put glow-in-the-dark tape and write on it, just in case you are in a dim light or dark area and you need to know what pad is corresponding to what song. And then number 5, we're gonna follow in that same vein of making a hotkey, but we're gonna make a hotkey as an oh crap button. Let's say you're mid-song and you get off the track, but you're too far into the song to just start over. You're gonna hit this and it's gonna solo out the click and the cue for you to help you get back on, but in turn is gonna mute the rest of the tracks. This way it allows everybody in the band to stay on the click, but you don't have your tracks fighting and firing off hits and random stuff and vocals being in the wrong place while you're playing the song. So in the same way we set up a hotkey for our songs, we're gonna set up a hotkey for our oh crap button. On the key side of things, I like to select that same key function and I like to put it at 0. That way if something goes wrong, I can hit 0 and it's gonna mute the rest of the tracks and only be sending the click and cue to the band. And on the MIDI pad side, you can just have a designated MIDI button as an oh crap button. That way you can always hit that and it'll solo it out. Same way as using the 0 button. All 5 of these things are super useful and you wouldn't really know to do these things unless you've been doing this for a while. So I hope they help you in some scenario and get you out of a bad situation. If this video helped you at all, throw a like or subscribe to the channel to get more content like this. I super appreciate everyone who's been commenting and subscribing lately. It's been super, super uplifting for me to know that I'm able to help all of you. And if you want help building your backing track session in Ableton Live, I got a video right here on a simple guide to help you do that. So why don't you check that out? And otherwise, have a great day and I'll see you in the next one.